The stream is about to begin.
All right, my teacher friends, I have a wicked fun vocabulary exercise for us today that has students digging into their slang, their colloquial, their vernacular, but also asking them and challenging them to stretch their vocab and get into tier 2 territory. And what I mean by that is just your average run of the mill SAT level caliber words. So, what we're going to do is write some fake news reports about 3 videos that we're going to see. And the videos feature or spotlight Oscar nominated flats. Pretty wild idea. I know that I'm getting into my deep arsenal of vocabulary tricks here, but this is a really good one. Stay tuned, sit in, strap up, and check this one out. All right, teacher friends, without further ado, let's jump right into this one and talk about the task. So I have 3 separate Oscar-nominated shorts, and what we're going to do is watch each one separately, one at a time, and we're going to start by watching the short film clip with the volume turned off. I don't want them to be influenced by any of the dialogue in it. I just want them to see visual. So I'm going to ask them to pay close attention to what's happening in the visuals, and they'll use these details in their writing. Step 2 is this. They're going to write at first a fake news report from the perspective of a field reporter. So they're going to pretend that they're the field reporter, and they're going to use 10 colloquial vernacular slang words from the provided list. And I'll talk about that list in just a second. So in brief, I've put together 100 slang words with their definitions, just the vernacular that our teens tend to use. So they have to take 10 from that list. They have to keep their diction casual, but still school appropriate. I know that was a caveat that some of you might immediately think, oh no, kids are going to get a little off kilter here. Step number 3, they're going to write a second fake news report from the perspective of the anchor, but they're going to shift to the anchor's voice in the newsroom and use 10 tier 2 academic vocabulary words from the provided list. And again, I'm going to ask them to keep their diction very formal and polished like a professional broadcaster. Step 4, we're going to do a think pair square, and I'm going to set my desk up in my classroom in quads, so 4s, and they're going to work in those groups in a literal square, and every 4 minutes we're going to pass the draft to the person on the right, and they're just going to add to the story and continue it. And we'll do that for 4 rotations. And then step number 5 is this, the wrap up. When the rotations are complete, we're going to return the drafts to the original writer, and then we'll share highlights and discuss how the diction shifts depending on the audience and the role. It's uproariously funny, especially when you get into some of the slang, and even the more formal ones are funny too, because kids stretch their vocab and try to sound really polished, which lends itself to a great conversation about the fact that words need to fit the scope of your mouth. So sometimes when students stretch, they sound a little contrived, pretentious, and they get off the rails a little bit by using words that they don't quite necessarily have possession of. And it lends itself to this conversation. Like, good writing is not using a million dollar words, right? You got to have possession of those words and use them properly. So I alluded to this earlier. Down below in the video's description, there's 100 words that are slang, colloquial, and vernacular. And then what I do in that list is, for each slang word, I give an SAT level caliber word, or I call that a tier 2 level word to kind of advance and augment the vocabulary a little bit. So this is a tricky exercise. So I'm going to Bob Ross it the first couple of times for my students, and I'll do that for you. So the first Oscar nominated short that we're going to take a look at is a film called Student Accomplice. It's really wild. It's about a driver's test, and there's a bank robbery and a car heist, and there's helicopters and a police pursuit, guns are brandished. It's pretty wild film, and it's only about 4 or 5 minutes long. So as the directions stated, the first one we're going to do is from the perspective of the field reporter. So we got to use 10 colloquial or vernacular words in it. Here's my Bob Ross sample, and I think it'll be very evident to you what I'm doing in this. Dang snaps, no cap. That driver's test turned into pure chaos. A student behind the wheel got hit with the most sus plot twist ever when a bank robber jumped straight into her car mid-exam. What should have been a chill road test went instantly wild, sirens blasting, tires screeching, the chase totally bussin'. Witnesses said the robber was brandishing heat like he had mad riz, but the cops pulled up savage and boxed him in. Through it all, the student driver kept it 100, gripping the wheel like her whole future was on the line. People on the block are calling it straight goat material, the kind of story that racks up clout in every group chat. The final grade, kind of mid, but surviving a full-on high-speed pursuit. FR is its own license. So you can see there, these are going to be relatively short. You don't need to go on and on and on, but you're going to squeeze 10 colloquial vernacular slang words in there. The next one is the anchor news reporter, and we're going to shift it to much more formal academic tier 2 SAT level words. So here's my Bob Ross example. During what was intended to be a routine driving examination, events took a startling and unprecedented turn. A bank robber attempting to evade capture abruptly entered the student's vehicle, transforming the test into a perilous high-speed chase. Law enforcement officers initiated an immediate pursuit, their vehicles in relentless pursuit through city streets. The suspect, visibly brandishing a firearm, created an atmosphere of profound trepidation for both the student and the examiner. Despite the tumultuous circumstances, the student maintained remarkable composure, demonstrating an ability to navigate under extreme duress. Ultimately, the police executed a strategic maneuver, successfully boxing in the suspect and ensuring his apprehension. Although the student's driving assessment was deemed compromised, the ordeal revealed an indelible display of resilience under extraordinary conditions. So you can see there, one of the things I'm modeling is that you got to own the words, right? When you get elevated, you still have to be in control and make sure that you're using the words properly. So we're going to do 3 rounds of this, and round number 2 is a book called The Weight. As far as quick tips for this, you can use my exemplars, of course, but I really think it's a good idea for teachers to bust out their paintbrushes, paint buckets, easels, and canvas and model this for their students, because it can get a little tricky. And the weight looks like this when you go on to YouTube. That's what you're going to look at. And this one's only 1 minute long. So you can see here, we're going to start with the field reporter, and I'll just give you a quick glance at it. I won't read it through, but that model and exemplar is there for your use in your students' perusal. Then you skip to the anchor news report, again, where you're going to use the tier 2 level words, 10 of those. So that's there. Round 3 features a movie or a short film called Don't Look in the Mirror. And again, there's the pictorial image. So for your reference when you get into YouTube. And again, we're going field reporter for number 1. And for number 2, we're going news or anchor news reporter with the formal diction. So hopefully you like that. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to give me a reach at writeitvwrite@gmail.com. A couple of things. Teachers ask me often if I do professional development. I kind of am known for that in the circuit, and I do all the time. I travel to schools and give PD, teach teachers one-on-one, small groups or whole departments. We do it in Zoom, or I can travel to you. So if that's something you're interested in, give me an email at writeitivyright@gmail.com and we can talk your specific needs and what I can offer. So hope that's a cool way for your students to play around with vocab, get them to augment, get them to keep it casual, and just see the difference in how you teeter-totter those discourse modes. Take care for now.